Welcome to The Fight on Matrix Midwest with Randy Carricker and company.
Hi kids, welcome to the program. Great to have you with us. Andrew Rogers, Randy Carricker, and we're excited to have you with us here in The Fight. There's a lot of stuff happening here in The Fight.
Thankfully.
Brendan Donovan, now a former Cardinal. We have a conundrum for you, and Cards assistant GM Rob Cerfolio joins us later on in the show. But let's get things started with our quick hits. And the Cardinals finally got overwhelmed and traded Brendan Donovan to the Seattle Mariners in a 3-team deal. The Cardinals get Gerangelo St. a switch pitcher who has recently concentrated on pitching right-handed. Outfielder Ty Pete, who's a guy that has tremendous power and speed. He was Seattle's top pick in 2023 and was their number 11 prospect. And then Tampa Bay left-handed hitting outfielder Colton Ledbetter, plus 2 compensatory picks. I like the deal. I love the idea of St. joining the group of young Cardinal pitching prospects. You can never have too much pitching. Brendan Donovan probably was not going to be a Cardinal when they were ready to be good again. So they make this deal, and I guess, well, clearly, the Cardinals got 5 assets, and they felt overwhelmed.
Yeah, I'm just very impressed with what Chaim Bloom has done in less than 3 months. And trading away the veterans to actually move forward with this teardown. I can't even think of a world where these draft picks can't be franchise altering. Like, that's the direction we're going here. And you have St. who's a number 4 prospect in the Cardinals system now. You have Pete, who you mentioned could easily be a 2020 guy for this team. And then you have those draft picks that are going to be top 75 picks. There is a real opportunity here for the Cardinals to get guys and get loaded with guys and then even miss on some guys and still be okay because the franchise is now set up for that in the system.
And a couple of things. Number one, make no mistake, this thing now has been torn down to the studs, and it's all about building now. And you mentioned those 2 picks. Last year, the Cardinals got a guy they really like a lot in Tanner Franklin, right in that pick range. So they're going to wind up with the opportunity to get some pretty good players out of that.
And look, I know it's a shame that this is the direction the Cardinals are going in 2026 for the fan. But you have to look on the brighter side of this and say, wow, they could be good for the long term now instead of the short term.
The question is, would you rather have this, or would you rather have the team that had Lynn and Kyle Gibson and Sonny Gray and Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado that finished with 83 wins and isn't going to get any better? I think I'd rather have the chance to have an upward trajectory with a young team.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I don't want a repeat of the last 2 seasons.
No.
So I will take this every day, ending in Y.
With the demise of the partnership between the Cardinals and the parent company of FanDuel Sports, the Cardinals television games will now be produced by MLB. The fallout, fewer blackouts. To stream the games, you can get the MLB app, and if you have cable or a dish, the channel number will be different. Everything else will be the same. Chip and Brad will still do the games. It won't be much different, except now the Cardinals will be selling their own commercial time rather than FanDuel selling it and paying the Cardinals for rights fees. By the way, First Alert 4 will air 10 regular season games along with a handful of spring training games here on Matrix Midwest. Matrix Midwest is also planning to air minor league games of the AAA Memphis Redbirds and the AA Springfield Cardinals this season. More details regarding that partnership and dates for games to watch on First Alert 4 and Matrix Midwest will be announced at a later date. It's going to be different, but basically it's going to be the same.
Right, and I love this for me and my generation of people because we stream. We don't have TV. And so before with FanDuel, like, yeah, you could like go on Amazon Prime and get the app and do the streaming, but it was still laggy. It wasn't very strong. Now you have a true avenue to go to watch the Cardinals for 162 games. And for $100, that's pretty cheap, in my opinion, to watch this team for less than $1 each day. I know there's a lot of fans out there that have MLB TV. There will still be blackouts if you just have MLB TV. You have to have Cardinals TV, but how many fans out there actually purchase and watch all games in Major League Baseball that want to cheer for the Cardinals? I'd say probably less than 5%.
And you don't have to purchase them all because we'll have games for you right here on Matrix Midwest, which are free. If you get an antenna, you can watch every game that is available on Matrix Midwest, and that'll be a dozen during the regular season, probably about 10 during spring training. So the Cardinals are taking that avenue of marketing their team with free television again, which I think is brilliant.
I love it.
The Seahawks are in the Super Bowl with the quarterback that came from the Vikings as a free agent this season. The Patriots are in the Super Bowl with a first-year coach that was fired by the Titans. What's worse, letting a Super Bowl quarterback walk as a free agent or firing a Super Bowl coach, because that's exactly what the Vikings and Titans did.
I think there's more great coaches out there than quarterbacks, and we talked a lot about that when the hiring cycle was going. Like John Harbaugh would get a lot of grief for how the Ravens played in the playoffs, yet it was the Ravens players that ended up being the problem more than it was John Harbaugh. So I think it's harder to find a franchise quarterback, which is more of a knock on the Vikings here, and that's what also led to them firing their GM. When you let a guy like that walk out of the building and you see what he does 1 year later with a new coach and a new team, and now he's playing in the Super Bowl, you're thinking to yourself, how did I get this wrong?
Yeah, the way that I read it is, if you have a great quarterback, you have a chance to win games. If you have a great coach without a great quarterback, that doesn't give you the opportunity to win games. I always thought that when Mike Martz went to the St. Louis Rams front office and said, "Hey, I want to cut Kurt Warner," they should have said, "Mike, we love you, but so long. You got to keep the quarterback." I'm with you 100%. And I like Mike Vrabel a lot. He's a terrific coach, but would he be as good if he didn't have Drake May?
And that's what we always say about Bill Belichick, right? Was he as good without Tom Brady? We already know that answer. He wasn't. Players decide games. Coaches can be out-coached in a game, but at the end of it all, the player will decide it.
Hey, you're going to get a break from the Blues. They play their last game before the Olympics Wednesday night in Dallas, and they'll have less than 2 weeks before the trade deadline, and they'll have one of the worst records in the league, a horrible night on Monday night in Nashville where they had the 5-1 lead and blew it and lost 6-5. But on this team, is there a young player, 27 or younger, that you're comfortable trading? I know that you want to trade a lot of them, but are you comfortable trading Kyrou or Thomas or Hofer or Holloway or Neighbors or Mayu or Snuggerud or Dvorsky? And by the way, I'm not going to put Broberg in there because they just signed him and he's going to be here. But would you be comfortable trading any of those guys and say, yeah, I know he's not going to be good?
I'm not comfortable trading any one of them. And it's kind of weird to say, and you at home might be thinking, oh, Kyrou's the easy answer there. Kyrou just had 3 straight seasons of 30-plus goals. Yes, this one season, this outlier season, hasn't been good, and you can point to an effort thing with that too, but he's still a guy that's shown you consistently he can score 30 goals. I'm not comfortable touching Holloway based on what he did last season, and he's still kind of working back through injury. Neighbors is going to be this team's next captain. Mayu needs more time to develop. Snuggerud's not getting traded, and neither is Dvorsky. Don't trade any of those guys.
That being said, there are some veterans on this team, Justin Falk, Braden Shen, Jordan Binnington, who now the way things are set up, kind of like with the Cardinals and Brendan Donovan, are not going to be around when this team is ready to win again. And if the Cardinals or the Blues can get assets for the veterans at the deadline, then I'm all for it.
You know, Tyler said something really funny in a show prep meeting one time, that the
Show
Blues,
prep?
yeah, we do show prep here, and the Blues said, or he said about the Blues, that they should go out and hire the same therapist as Ted Lasso hired at Richmond in the show Ted Lasso. They really could use an intervention and a therapist like that at this moment in time.
They got some problems. Hey, the Winter Olympics start Friday in Italy, and the hockey competition should be great. What are the best and your favorite Olympic sports? I've always thought that if I could do an Olympic sport, I'd love to do one of the sliding sports. The bobsled is cool, luge is cool, the skeleton. That's the kind, and I love watching it. Boy, they have some terrific wrecks too. But I would like to do that. I think that would be fun to go on a sled ride.
You know, I love bobsledding. I think that's one of the more fun sports to watch at the Winter Olympics. Hockey is by far my favorite, but if it's not hockey, I have to watch a wipeout sport. I need to watch a ski jump of some kind or snowboarding because I love watching these athletes wipe out. It's terrible because they could get hurt, and they could get hurt pretty bad where they don't even place at the very end of it all. But I love watching how dangerous that sport is, knowing that I can't do that, and also being pretty impressed when they land the stunt.
And Tyler likes curling, and curling is weirdly compelling. Curling is that sport that you're up at 12:35 in the morning and you say, oh, what's on TV? And you get to like Peacock or NBC and they're showing curling and you can't turn away from it. I love that sport. And I don't know if I'd like to do it. By the way, our old buddy Mark Bulger, former Rams quarterback, owns a curling facility down in Nashville. And so if we want to go do it, we can.
Let's do it.
But I just find it oddly compelling, and I really do enjoy it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can't ice skate, so curling is definitely right up my alley there, but I need to be the Swiffer. Is that what you call those people down at the very end?
Sweeper.
The sweeper, excuse me. You know, curling is like pickleball, right? Everybody picks it. If there's one sport to pick up, it would be curling at the Winter Olympics.
By the way, new in 2026, ski mountaineering I'm going to have to watch that because I have no idea what it is. But I guess it's skiing with a mountain, right?
Oh, wait, you don't ever ski with mountains before?
Yeah, it might be. And what about biathlon? I mean, doing cross-country skiing and shooting, I mean, that's something that we could do here in St. Louis.
Yeah, we can do it all the
St.
time. We could start at Hidden Valley, and then we can make our way.
Yeah, those are your quick hits here in the fight. Later in the show, we're going to have some risky business. We're going to build a parlay. Stick around for that. But coming up in the fight, the Cardinals assistant GM and player development director Rob Serfolio joins us here on Matrix Midwest. It is a pleasure to welcome to the program Cardinals Assistant General Manager and Director of Player Development and Performance, Rob Serfolio. He's been with the Redbirds for about 15 months, doing great work with the farm system. Rob, thanks so much for joining us. How you doing?
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. We're doing well. It's been a busy last couple days, but we're hanging in there.
And let's start with what made you so busy. The club trading Brendan Donovan to Seattle and got 3 youngsters and 2 draft picks back in return. How did that all come together?
Well, first off, months of work, a lot of collaboration between everyone, obviously from Heim, having the discussions directly with all the other teams, but just a great group effort from everyone from Randy Flores and Joe Douglas to really our entire leadership team. Just hours and hours and weeks of conversations. Like, obviously, anytime you decide to move on from a player of Donnie's caliber, both what he offers on field and off field, like, it takes a lot of thought and consideration, and proud of all the work that our group put into it, and excited for the players that we'll be able to work with on the backside of this trade.
And one of them being probably the most intriguing one to Cardinals fans is Senja. How does the organization plan on utilizing his unique ambidextrous abilities?
Well, first off, good job on the pronunciation. It's not
Thank you. I practiced all day.
Yeah, well done. You nailed it, at least from my understanding. So, pretty similar to how the Mariners were thinking about it. And at least, we're gonna kick off our partnership process with Jurangelo and ensure that we approach this the right way and that he has a huge voice in it. But obviously, like, his athleticism to be able to accomplish such a feat at a high level is really impressive and intriguing. And I think our view, at least heading into next year, is the thought of really isolating or zooming in on like the right-handed starter potential for him. That's kind of what Seattle and he had decided over the last couple of weeks. And our plan is going to be pretty similar and try and pick up pretty seamlessly off of those discussions that have already happened. But a really exciting young arm that can hopefully attack and get both righties and lefties out, regardless of which hand he's throwing with.
Hey, Rob, I don't want people to dismiss the 2 picks you got either, because I know a guy that you guys really have high hopes for in Tanner Franklin was selected right in this range last year, and he's got a chance to be really good. So these 2 picks can be very valuable for the Cardinals, can't they?
Yeah, I think that's one of the upsides of the opportunity that was presented to us here is what it does, not just at that exact pick. To your point, Randy, like the player that you can expose yourself to right there is a pretty talented player, but there's also just some upside strategy wise from having one of the bigger draft pools out there. And I know, whether it's Flo or Zach Mortimer, our whole team is going to, really be able to do some strategic things now with a lot of picks and one of the bigger bonus pools. You just have more opportunities to seize some strategy elements that the average team can't. And I think that's one of the real upsides of hopefully what this deal presents.
Hey, Rob, the people that rank systems, the experts like at Baseball America or at MLB Pipeline, The Athletic, they all have the Cardinal system ranked way higher than last year at this time. What's the difference now in your mind?
Well, yeah, I think, those are certainly things that we see and track to a different degree. But I think it's worth saying that our goal is not necessarily to have a high ranked farm system. That's always like, quote, cool. But at the end of the day, like what we are hopeful for is that year over year, our system is producing players that impact our major league team in a productive manner. And I think like having a system that consistently churns out players that are winning major league players, by whatever role that ends up being, is the sign of a great farm system. So I think to answer your question directly, like there were a lot of positive things that were happening here that we tried to really lean into and understand. And then obviously we brought in some new people with ideas from other productive organizations, and we just tried to marry all those things up. And I don't think we have that answer key fully solved, but we've been able to bring in and recruit some great people on the staff and player side that have really helped the machine pick up some steam. And like I said, it's cool that there's public acknowledgement that way, but we know that that's still a lot of work on our end to actually ensure that leads to major league production. And that's kind of what all of our staff, major league staff, minor league staff, we're all just really excited to work with our players that way to ensure that outcome happens.
And not that you didn't have your hands full before, but after the trades this offseason, it seems like now the pressure is really on to get these young guys to pan out, does it not?
I look at it more as opportunity, and just, again, like, we see player development as not just like a minor league thing. This is an organizational initiative, major leagues all the way down. So whether it's, some of the quote more major league ready pieces from like a Boston deal, for example, and our major league staff and our player development group's been working really hard to ensure that the transition is easy for these guys, so that both personally and professionally, like we're doing everything we can to ensure that we have a great plan in place for these guys when the transition happens. And sometimes it's players that are further away, like the example here with the Seattle-Tampa concept. And it's now our job to have a great handoff from, myself and the group that was really involved in the like quote assessment or evaluation of these players in the trade concepts, have a great handoff with the coaching staff, so that our player development efforts, regardless of major leagues or minor leagues, are really dialed in, that we're partnering with these new players. We're learning their story. We're figuring out, what made them great, what they've been working on over the off season, so that when they step on campus in Jupiter, that we just have a great plan that's ready to rock, and that everybody's aligned towards what we're solving for. So, I don't really use the word pressure. I think it's opportunity. And that's kind of why we signed up for this business, right? Is the opportunity to work with really talented people.
I'm somebody who grew up with the George Kissel overseeing the minor league operation, and the guys from A ball would be moved up to Double A, and they would know how to play. There was a cardinal way. The guys that went from Double A to Triple A, when a guy got to the majors, there was a cardinal way to play. And I sense, Rob, that you guys are bringing that back. How important is that to have everyone from low A and your Dominican Academy all the way up to the big leagues to know that template and communicate with each other what the template is?
Yeah, I love this question because, I think this is kind of the space that really separates great organizations from good or average ones. And, Randy, I think it's how do we pull the best out of the quote old school, the things about baseball that are the same today as they were 100 years ago. Like, in order to win a Major League Baseball game, you have to know how to run the bases really well. You have to know how to execute a cut and relay in an important part in the game when you're up 1 run in the 8th inning. And you also need to know how to like hit a 3-run home run when you need it. And there's old school principles and new school principles in all of that. And our philosophy is just to like not be one or the other. It's to truly value both sides of that coin and do so systematically with our teaching. So anything that can impact a Major League Baseball game, I see it as our duty, again, whether it's in the major leagues or the minor leagues, to teach these guys and to partner with our players on what we're solving for and why, and to have really great curriculum and coaches to pull that off. So it's a great question because we are emphasizing those things. We're emphasizing some new things, some quote newer school things, and we're also like really trying to put an exclamation point behind the Cardinal way, the George Kissel names that are a really unique advantage that this organization has that the average organization doesn't. And it's to pull all those threads together and just kind of like put some steam behind both the new school and the old school. Like that's, my own player experience playing for a former Cardinal that grew up in that era. We're going to care about all those things. There are no little things. They're just things that we need to do to win a Major League Baseball game. And it's on all of us to teach those things really well. And
by the way, Rob played for John Stupor of the 1982 World Champions, a right-handed pitcher at Yale. So not only was Rob a baseball player at Yale, but he's obviously very smart.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say a smart guy. That's what I take away when I hear the word Yale.
They had to take one kid from Alabama every year. Guys, so I was that guy.
You were the lucky guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Rob. Hey, speaking of the Cardinal way and everything that you just kind of talked about, the person that embodied that probably the best last season was J.J. Weatherholt. How impressed were you with his progression and fast rise through the ranks?
Yeah, not that shocked in some ways, but just having the opportunity. And first off, like our minor league group did a tremendous job with him, from our farm director Larry Day to our field coordinator Ryan Barba, to just the whole operation. Our managers Patrick Anderson and Ben Johnson in Springfield and Memphis respectively, like, and so many others. Like JJ is a special talent. But he's even a more special teammate and preparer. Like the way that he just cares and invests into his own development, and then also like impacts the people around him through just modeling great habits and behaviors each and every day is special. And we're really lucky that we have a guy that goes about his craft that way, but just cares about things that we really want to scale across the organization. So he's certainly a product of everyone he's been around before the Cardinals and hopefully over this past year. And, I'm just really excited that, we get to have a front row seat to continue to watch that unfold and then continue to push him to find ways to go from great to elite. There are always things that our players, again, whether you've been in the big leagues for 10 years or the minor leagues for 10 minutes, there are things developmentally that all of our players need to be focused on. It's just different areas of focus. So that's one of the opportunities we get to have with JJ, but we're certainly lucky to have him in Cardinal Red.
Rob, analytics are such a big part of the game now, but baseball is still played by people, not computers. How do you balance what the data tells you with what your eyes and instincts are seeing?
Yeah, it goes back to a little bit of the quote, old school, new school, and how do we just be neither of those in isolation, but both of those at their best. I use an analogy of like, which doctor would you rather go see? The doctor today with an MRI machine or the doctor 100 years ago that just put his hands on you? You're still solving for the same correct diagnosis, but the better information you have, the better decisions you can make. And information is what your eyes and ears see and hear. And information is also what like hard analytics can tell you. So from my vantage point, it's how do we be great with both of those things? How do we have and hire really smart people within the space of analytics that are curious to learn about people with great baseball experience? And how do we have great baseball experience people that want to learn how to leverage analytics? And if we have a bunch of people that have strong opinions loosely held and have great experiences that come from both sides, but really just want to work together, that's how I've always tried to go about it. That's what I've seen the most successful people in today's version of baseball, kind of that mindset. And we want to have that mindset at scale from our staff all the way into our players. And you have to take every piece of information with the context that it comes from. But we want to be evidence-based with how we go about anytime we ask a player to do something. We owe it to that guy to not guess. And we want to come in with clear-cut information that just helps script what our hypothesis is and what we want to start. But you always have to cross-check that information. There's always context to it. You have to figure out what information is good information and what information isn't good information, and just ask the right questions and do that with a lot of smart people in the room.
You and Chaim and that team obviously have a vision for this system. Rob, when you get to where you want to be, what does that vision look like?
Yeah, I think I touched on a little bit earlier. For me, we are developing players at scale from the major leagues all the way down. We are finding ways to unlock things or win on the margins to just help all of our guys consistently get better. I think maybe some more tangible examples of that would look like, major league and minor league players getting better year over year. A farm system that is healthy consistently, and every year is offering up players that impact our major league team from actual wins and losses. I think there's some other things in the industry of that. If we are doing our job and accomplishing those things, then the staff on our side is seen as people that are getting jobs across different organizations, and it's on us to try and keep those people and continue developing them here with us. But if other teams are trying to learn what we are doing and poach our people and our players, like usually that's a sign that you're doing things pretty well. So those would be just some examples that jump to mind for me.
Well, you're going to find that I'm a teachable and coachable old guy. So even though I'm not all in on the analytics, right? And I'm buying in, right? Slow but sure.
Let's go. Yeah, let's embrace debate, man.
Rob, you're the best. Thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Have safe travels to Florida, and we'll talk to you soon.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks again for having me, and hope you guys stay warm while we're all hopefully enjoying some sun.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate that very much. Take care, Rob.
See you, man.
That is Rob Cerfolio, Assistant General Manager, Director of Development and Performance for your St. Louis Cardinals. Coming up in the list, our favorite Super Bowl commercials of all time here in The Fight. Time now for the list, and of course the Super Bowl is Sunday, and one of the reasons we watch the Super Bowl beyond the football is for the commercials. And our list today, the best Super Bowl commercials of all time. And Andrew, I'll get things started with my number 3. Pepsi used to be a big-time sponsor of the Super Bowl. They sponsored the halftime show for a long time. You, in our last show, had Michael Jackson, and that halftime show was sponsored by Pepsi. Well, in 1992, Cindy Crawford was the hottest supermodel going, and during Super Bowl 26, Pepsi had some fun with that. I love these kids.
Is that a great new Pepsi can or what?
Introducing a whole new way to look at Pepsi and Diet Pepsi.
It's
That's great. I love that one. And obviously,
good.
Cindy Crawford, a superstar, and that lifted her to a new level at the Super Bowl halftime.
Well, that just reminded me of the scene in The Sandlot when Wendy Peppercorn's on the lifeguard stand, right?
Yeah.
That would be the perfect segue into why that was created. And maybe there was a spin on that, or one could have led to the other.
Could be.
I don't know. Okay, my number 3. We watch the Super Bowl for the commercials. That's what a lot of people say. That's their line of thinking. I'm more the guy that says I can't use the bathroom at any point because I need to watch every commercial for reasons like this when it gives you the emotional connection. Isn't it amazing what no
Spectacular.
words can do?
It's
There were
amazing.
no words in that commercial, yet you knew exactly what was going on, and you can relate to that, especially if you have kids.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That was fantastic. And another one, and they do a great job without words, our friends down the street at Budweiser. They always do phenomenal Super Bowl ads. This is from 2014.
Well, you only need the light when it's burning low. Only miss the sun when it starts to snow. Only know you love her when you let her go. Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Only hate the road when you're missing home. Only know you love her when you let her go. And you let her go.
I still get goosebumps when I've watched it a million times, and I
Right.
still get goosebumps. It's great.
They're the best at like tear-jerking you on
Yep.
Super Bowl night.
Yep.
There's,
Tugging
I
at
don't
your
think there's
heartstrings.
any other company out there that can really do that better than Budweiser.
No doubt about it.
Okay, my number 2. So the second funniest company, I think is the best way to say this, in the Super Bowl commercial landscape is Doritos. From the magic ball that gave free Doritos to the office, to the ultrasound, which was a little contradictory, but led to the early delivery of a baby. My favorite of them from all time was in 2010.
Hi. Aw, thank you. Have a seat. Kyle, Jalen. Jalen, Kyle.
Jalen, you play nice.
I'll be right back.
What's going on, little man? I see you got your game skills down, Pack. You might have your hands full once I pick up the controller, though, man.
Put it back. Keep your hands on my mama. Keep your hands on my Doritos.
Jalen, are you playing?
One of the most iconic lines that is probably said over and over still today.
Yeah, that was classic. I love it. All right, my number 1, a year after the original Dream Team dominated in the Olympics, this was like 4 months afterwards, McDonald's got Larry Bird and Michael Jordan together to call their shots.
What's in the bag?
Lunch. Big Mac, fries.
Play you for it.
You and me for my Big Mac?
First one to miss watches the winner eat. No dunking.
Get in there.
Get in. Nothing but net.
I think we're going to be here a while. I suggest you go get a Big Mac.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good to rope those two together.
And there's even more because the shots get more outrageous as you go along. It's a lot of fun, and it's very creative, and you get those two. Okay, let's see if we can get them up in the rafters here. Yeah, from the knee. Here we go.
These are all the shots you try as a kid that never go in.
Yeah.
Yet these guys can make them consistently.
Off the scoreboard, off the bank board, no rim.
Over the second rafter, off the floor, nothing but net. Through the window, off the wall, nothing but net.
The word on the street is it only took one take for that, Randy.
Unbelievable.
Those
That's
were all
great.
actual shots, not edits.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that was so much fun. And you have those two together. Michael is such a great actor, and then Bird is just such an innocent guy. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
Okay.
my number 1 all time.
All right, I'm going to make us laugh to end this thing off. Every Bud Light commercial from like 2010 to 2015 was the best ever. You have the guy that had the revolving magic fridge to the other guy's apartment. You had the kitchen renovation where all they did was put Bud Light on the counter. Then you have the swear jar. And then my personal favorite, and if you haven't seen it in years, it's got to be one that just gets you to crack up.
do get a hint of drinkability right away.
Does my pen have writability?
Come on, people, we gotta focus. We're not leaving until we've met our budget. We need ideas.
We could cut back on marketing.
We could eliminate bonuses. How about we stop buying Bud Light for every meeting?
It's the only beer with just the right taste. Bud Light. The difference, the drinkability.
He's carrying his desk chair with him, but he was so smug after making that comment. He's like, huh? What do you think about that? And then they kick him out a 3-story window. I'm like, who thinks of that? So funny.
And if you haven't seen this year's Budweiser spot for Super Bowl 60 on Sunday, here it is.
I'm as free as a bird now, and this bird will never change. Oh, and the bird you cannot change. Lord, I can't change. Won't you fly?
They do it right, don't they?
That is insane. Did you know it was a bald eagle at first? That's what I want everyone at home to be thinking right now. There's no way you thought. I thought it was a chick whenever they first had him rolling through the mud.
Right.
I'm gonna go. I think it was a male. I'm just gonna go with it being a male. And then you think it's the horse that's flying there at the end. No, it ends up being an eagle. That is just precision at its finest.
And it's genius, right? On
is.
the part of the folks at Budweiser here in St. Louis. That is the list here on The Fight. And coming up next, we're going to build a parlay. We've got some risky business for you coming up here in The Fight. All right, we are going to build a parlay. Andrew's still looking for my bet on DraftKings.
There's so many for the Super Bowl.
There are so many, and it's one of the, the fun parlays. There it is. So I'm going to go with a red zone interception to be thrown in this game. The over/under is 1/2, plus 330 for a red zone interception. Darnold and May, the way that during the season, Sam Darnold threw interceptions, of course, mostly against the Rams, and the way Drake May has thrown interceptions in the playoffs. I feel good about plus 330 for a red zone interception.
Well, you know the Seahawks are known for throwing interceptions in the red zone against the Patriots.
Yep, they are. No
I like that. I'm just still scrolling. Look at this. I'm still on passing props here, and I am still scrolling through them. I don't even know how many there were. There had to be at least 40 that I just scrolled past.
That's great.
That is unbelievable. Now I'm trying to figure out what I was going to do. Oh, it was in passing props too.
Yeah,
oh, good. I get to go all the way back. Look, all the way back. This is how many there are. So crazy. Okay.
Drake May yards, right?
Yeah, so Drake May passing yards, word on the street is he has the shoulder issue, right? I wonder if they're going to lean more on the run game. They have two really good running backs in Stevenson and Henderson. And so because of that shoulder injury, I am going to go with the over-under of his passing yards, not the actual number itself. So if you scroll over and you see the O/U, take Drake May's, under 220.5.
I like that.
And you cannot parlay these two because Randy's is so precise, which DraftKings doesn't want us making a lot of money. That's why they're doing that.
Come on, DraftKings.
But if you put $100 on just Randy's, you'll make $330. If you put $100 on mine, you basically have to put like $112 on it to make $100.
There's your risky business here in The Fight. And, oh, by the way, Jimmy Suggerud did not score a goal against Nashville. And
no, they scored a lot.
Texas Tech, yeah.
Yeah, Texas Tech didn't cover, right?
Did not cover. So we were 0-for in that parlay early in the week. All right, coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It and Story Time with Uncle Randy here in The Fight. All right, time now for Take It or Leave It. And as you know, the Cardinals traded Brendan Donovan, and they get 5 assets back in return. 3 players, a pitcher and 2 position players, plus those 2 draft choices. So, Andrew, take it or leave it. When all is said and done, the Cardinals get more WAR out of the 5 assets that they got in the trade from Seattle and Tampa than Brendan Donovan gives Seattle.
And what is Brendan Donovan's current WAR? Do we have an
like
idea?
3.2 last year, but he can be a 4.5 guy.
I would venture to say that it's only going to go up when he's with Seattle. I will take it more out of hope over anything else that those 5 guys end up panning out. I also love the fact that you threw WAR in.
I thought I would do that.
On a day that we spoke to Rob Terfolio, you're just feeling all about the analytics today.
I'm going to take it too. And I know there's FWAR and BWAR.
That is true. There is. And one stands for Fangraph, one stands for Baseball Reference.
Right. So you have 2 different statistics for trying to come up with the same thing, so that's really brilliant.
Yeah, and they never match, right?
They never do. Nope.
And that's the best thing, right? You have to cross-reference.
We do.
All right, Randy, mine for you is this. I was thinking about this last night. The 2026 Winter Olympics begins on Thursday with women's ice hockey. Team USA plays at 9:40, and then there's also hockey as early as 5 a.m. Anybody else think it's weird opening ceremony, though, happens a day after the games begin? Take it or leave it. You shouldn't be able to call it an opening ceremony when the door's already been open for a day.
Unfortunately, I got to leave that because it's just the way it works, right? Because you only have a limited amount of days. You have a calendar that you have to abide by.
Sure.
And so, yeah, you have to play games before there's opening ceremonies.
It's all about TV rights.
Yep.
It's all about TV rights. I'll take it. I know Tyler backstage, he's going to leave it. He said it happens every year. Just because it happens every year doesn't make it right.
That's true.
All right, let's do this.
And Tyler has one. In the last show, director Tyler was hopeful that the Blues dads trip would help the team turn around. Well, it worked for a period. Take it or leave it. The dads need to ground their sons after that embarrassing loss to Trashville.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, you're grounded.
Do you think those guys still get grounded by their parents?
5-1 lead.
Yeah,
well,
I know.
They should be.
This is Tyler,
they
too,
should
right?
be.
He has to take it.
So,
That's so funny.
yeah, no, that
and I also love the throw-in of Trashville, even though the Blues are the team that have blown 2 4-goal leads this year.
Is that the worst loss of the year, though? This one against
Well,
Trashville?
when they lost to Detroit, it was also in regulation.
Yeah.
And they were up, 4-0 in that game?
Right. Detroit's a better team, though.
That is true. But Nashville's playing much better. They're actually pretty close to a wild card spot now.
I know. That's crazy. All right, now it's time for story time with Uncle Randy. Andrew's going to spin the wheel. We're going to pick out a decade. Well, no, we're not going to pick out. It's just going to be random from my fandom. And the decade is going to be...
Get to the 90s.
Looks like the two...
No, it's the 90s.
It's going to be the 90s. Hold on. Is that official?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, it is.
There
okay.
it is.
And then we're going to do a sport. Here we go.
How about this? Oh, stop. Yes.
90s baseball?
Give me some 90s baseball, Randy.
Okay, do you want to do something on the field or off the field?
Oh, man, you know I'm a kid. I get so excited over off the field moments.
Okay, off the field stuff. This is unbelievable. Okay, so in 1996, for the Cardinals seasons of 96 and 97, the Cardinals signed Andy Bennis, a Scott Boras client, to a contract with an opt-out. And he opted out. Scott Boras clients always do, right? And there was a rule in place that in baseball at that time, if you didn't sign with a team by December 31st, your old team, you couldn't rejoin them until May 1st. So Andy Bennis isn't involved, and Walt Jocketty isn't involved, and Bill DeWitt Jr. is negotiating with Scott Boras. And the deadline is at midnight Eastern. Well, the Cardinals are in the Central Time Zone, and obviously Boras is out on the West Coast in Newport Beach. So the Cardinals and Boras come to an agreement literally at 5 minutes after midnight Eastern. Well, that's too late. And Boras asked for an extension. Baseball said, to hell with you. No, there are no extensions. We aren't giving an extension to you. So Andy Bennis actually had to go to Arizona and sign as a free agent for 2 years during the 98 and 99 seasons before he came back for the 2000 season, all because Scott Boras was trying to take it to the limit and pushed it over the limit, and baseball said, yeah, no, you don't get any special treatment there, sorry. And so Andy Bennis came back in 2000 and obviously helped the Cardinals do some winning in 2001 and 02. But he could have spent the last 6 or 7 years of his career here rather than skipping out on those 2 and going to Arizona.
That's why I'm a sucker for off-field stories from you, because not only is this super funny because it happened to Scott Boras, but I can't imagine Andy Bennis was all that thrilled when he found out that he had to go pitch in Arizona for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, for an expansion team, right?
Right.
And he did and pitched well for them, but he should have been here in 98, and he should have been 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000, 01, 02. I think that was his last year here. He should have pitched the last 7 years of his career. He's always wanted to be in St. Louis. He's still in St. Louis. He's a great guy, Andy Benes is, and glad he's here, but wish he would have been here for those 2 years too.
How long has Scott Boras been the guy for agents in baseball?
It's been a long time. Early 90s, he had Barry Bonds, I believe.
Was that his first big client?
No, his first big client was Keith Hernandez. He and Keith Hernandez played in the Cardinal minor league system
absolutely,
together.
yes. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember that story. Wow. So
Yeah.
Scott Boras has been making that type of money.
Oh, yeah,
for
outrageous.
so long.
Yeah, unbelievable money. All right, that's Story Time with Uncle Randy. Now it's time for this date in sports history. And on this date, in 2008, the New York Giants saved the world. All right, so we are down, we being the Giants, down 14-10, fourth quarter, and this is a big play. How about Eli Manning getting away? Let's find David Tyree, and oh, it's a helmet catch. Let's watch the replay here. This is unbelievable. First of all, unbelievable that Eli Manning got away from the pass rush.
Right.
And then that Tyree, who, by the way, had the worst practice in the history of football 2 days before, watch this catch.
One-handed.
Yep, off of his helmet, and so he comes up with first down. And watch Eli get away. I couldn't believe that he got away here, but that was wonderful.
Eli Manning known for his elusiveness.
And by the way, the Patriots, if you aren't aware of it, they were undefeated going into this game.
That they were.
They'd gone 16-0 during the regular season, and they had won 2 playoff games. And then, after that catch, Eli gets him into scoring position, and Plexico Burress, who would subsequently wind up shooting himself in the leg with a gun that he was wearing because he had sweats. But he catches a Super Bowl winning touchdown pass there. Thank you, Plexico, for saving America by preventing the Patriots from going 19-0.
Even a lot of firepower in that moment, though, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he did. What a great day. And, yeah, the Patriots are not one of the great teams of all time because they did not win that Super Bowl. Hey, we need you to tell your friends that they can see us every day at 5 and 10 p.m. and then again at 7 o'clock weekday mornings. And as we told you earlier, spring training Cardinal baseball here on Matrix Midwest, always available on the KMOV app and the new Matrix Midwest app. Listen in your car on the way to work or as you're driving around. And to participate in the fight, go to matrixmidwest.com, click on the Fight with Carricker and Company, use the drop-down menu, and sign up. We'd love to have you participate in the fight. Great job as always, sir.
Great job by you.
Thanks for tuning in. And for our outstanding director, Tyler, Klaus, and Andrew, I'm Randy, and we'll see you next time here in the fight. So long, everyone.